1 second.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning. This is Craig Rieger, Keller Williams Maps Coaching, here with our co-coach Andrea Menzel. And we're so thankful that you're joining us for the webinar of 90 listings in 90 days. So I'm going to kind of get started and talk and give you guys some takeaways of what you can expect, some things you could actually potentially implement this weekend to start increasing your listing business and or your mindset. And then we'll get specifically into talking about the course, as well as there's an opportunity for you to type questions. And for the last 10 to 15 minutes of the call, Andrew and I will go through and do our best to specifically answer your questions. So to get started, when I think of 90 listings in 90 days, it's something that my coach, Tony DeCello in Maps Coaching, challenged my team and I to do, Andrew and I to do, just over 3 years ago. And it came out shortly after Gary had completed the One Thing book. And when we think about the one thing, it became so incredibly clear. I understand that everyone in this call, we've got mega agents and brand new agents and in-between agents. And regardless of where you're at, if you're starting this business, the way I see it, you've got about 100 different jobs on any given day. Your home inspector, your buyer's agent, your listing agent, your transaction coordinator. Heck, you might even be, marriage counselor, therapist, and babysitter of the kids. Like, we have so many different jobs that we feel like we need to complete on any given day when we get out of bed and go to work. And the reality is, yes, they all exist. However, getting really clear on what your one thing is, it's listings. From the MREA, we know that listings is your largest and single biggest piece of leverage to help you accomplish whatever goals you have for your business. And so 90 listings in 90 days came very clear of is we're going to wake up every single day and we're going to do whatever is necessary from the time that my eyes wake up in the morning to the time I lay back down in bed, and I'm going to get a listing. I'm going to do whatever I have to do, which might include some new habits, some better time blocking, some new skill set, potentially some technology, whatever I have to change in my life, my business, and my behavior to ensure that I get a listing before I go to bed each day. And that became the one thing. The other 100 jobs still existed, but where I'm going to challenge everybody that signs up for this course, we're going to give you the exact tools on how to do it, is when you get up in the morning, the number one job you have is to get a listing before you go to bed that day. And for some folks, you may have a bigger goal than 90 listings in 90 days. For others, it might be, hey, Craig, I'm going to do 20 listings in 90 days. There's no right or wrong. We just want this to be a stretch goal for you and to give you the tools that will help you accomplish having more business and more listings at the end of this challenge than you had at the start of it. So, Chris, if you can go to the next slide, we'll dive in and we'll start talking about a couple very quickly of the strategies that Andrew and I will be covering throughout 90 listings in 90 days. So one of the best tools that we have, especially at this time of year, I'm down in California and Andrew is up there in Oregon, I heard it's going to be 100 degrees today, is door knocking. In the past, I was very apprehensive to do any door knocking. It was limiting beliefs. I just didn't see a true value of going door knocking before my open houses and saying, hey, it's Craig Rieger of Keller Williams Realty. I'd like to invite you to my open house tomorrow between 1 and 3. Again, limiting beliefs, but that's where I was at. And again, through Maps Coaching, and this actually came through Monica Reynolds, one of our top Maps coaches, is she showed us the idea during 90 and 90 of door knocking with offers. So let me explain what that looks like. For some of you on this call or on this webinar, is that you've already had an opportunity to write an offer up for one of your buyers in the last few weeks, and your buyer unfortunately lost. So you had a buyer, they wrote an offer on a listing, and that seller ultimately accepted somebody else's offer because there was a multiple offer situation, which means your buyer lost. And what we found through Monica and Maps Coaching is that we've got a very powerful document there, and if we can share that offer or document out with the community, we have a great opportunity to pick up more listings. So what that looks like is we'll take our buyer's offer that loses, and we will black out the listing agent's name. So it might be Sally at XYZ Company, and then we'll leave Craig Rieger, Keller Williams, of course, and then we'll black out the seller's last name. We'll actually black out the buyer's last name on the offer, and we'll block out any other private information. So what's remaining is it says Craig Rieger, Keller Williams, 123 Main Street, your city, Jim and Sally buyer, Fred and Susie seller, $325,000 dated 4 days ago. And we'll make 50 to 100 copies of that offer, and we'll canvass the neighborhood. Either I will or my team will or all of us will go out together, and we'll go and we'll knock on the door. And of course, the seller answers the door with the same apprehensions and stress of why is somebody knocking on my door, and the dog's barking and the kids are peeking through the window. When they open the door, we'll just simply say, hey, I'm Craig Rieger, I'm with Keller Williams Realty. And you know, your neighbor down the street, I don't know if you saw that house was for sale, but it is for sale. In fact, it actually sold this weekend. And the reason I know that is because my buyers made an offer on that property and they missed out. I don't know why they lost out on the property. They were very strong financial. They came in just above full price. Maybe they lost to cash. The agent didn't tell me. But the bottom line is I know that house is sold, and my clients are devastated because they really want to live on your street. They want their kids to go to your school district. And here's a copy of their offer. And at this point, we actually hold up a copy of their offer right in front of their nose, and this is where everything changes. You're going to see their behavior change, their body language change. The door is going to open up a little bit wider, because reality is whether they want to sell or not, whether they have any desire to sell in the near future, this is probably their largest investment. This might be their retirement fund. It might be something they plan on using towards their children's college at some point. And when you're showing an offer dated 2 or 3 days before, signed and dated with price attached to one of their neighbor's home, and there's absolutely nothing on that offer that's confidential, this is 100% legal to do, you're going to get their full attention. And I can promise you, if they have any desire at all to sell their property, you're going to have a great conversation. Now, what happens when you hold up that offer is you also become extremely valid. And by valid is they may have no desire to sell, but because you're holding up an offer from one of your buyers dated 2 or 3 days ago, there's a probability that they may point across to the street and say, hey guys, have you talked to the Johnsons? I heard they're relocating. They have a job transfer. Or they might point around the corner and say, have you already gone to the Smith's house? I know they're pregnant, and we had a barbecue with them last week, and they talked about how they might be selling this home because they're going to need a larger home for their growing family. When you door knock with offers, you become so valid that if the homeowner doesn't want to sell, the person that you're in front of showing this live offer to, they're going to point you around the corner and tell you who you need to target that they believe will sell. And then, of course, you can do the exact same thing with your listing. So when you've got a listing, and some of you in some markets, in fact, most markets still around the country are getting multiple offers. And when you have a listing that gets multiple offers, let's say you have a property that gets 3 offers this weekend, of course, your seller is going to accept the offer that they prefer the most, which means you have 2 offers that you didn't write that came in on your listing. You do the same thing with those 2 offers. You're going to black out everything confidential. So at the end of it, again, it's going to say Craig Rieger or your name, Keller Williams, 123 Main Street, Jim and Susie seller, Bob and Sally buyer, and it's going to have the price and the date. And you're going to take those offers that other agents wrote on your listings, you're going to go door knocking, and that script, of course, is very similar. So it's knock, knock, and the door opens up and say, hey, I'm Craig Rieger, I'm with Keller Williams Realty, and I don't know if you saw my house for sale around the corner. Really exciting. I got 3 offers on it this weekend. My clients of course, took their favorite offer, but we've got 2 very strong, financially solid, well-approved buyers that are devastated they missed out on that home. They really want to live on your street. In fact, here's a copy of their offers. You can have these. They want to live on your street. Have you thought about selling in this hot market before this window of opportunity closes? And again, like when you're holding up the offers, it becomes a very warm conversation. Even if they don't want to sell, they're going to review the offer. They're going to ask you questions. And it becomes a very cool process to start building relationships. Now, occasionally people will fire back and say, you know what? I would love to have those buyers see my property. Do you want to bring them over? And I'll say, I'd love to bring them over, but we have to agree on 2 things before I can bring the buyers over. We have to agree on price and commission. So what I'd like to do is schedule about a half hour with you to come back on Monday at 1 or 3, and during that time, if we agree on price and commission, I'll bring the buyer back over. If we don't agree on price and commission, I won't bring them over. It's just that simple. And so we're going to give you so many different strategies of how to help you get more listings in a much easier way than potentially you've learned in the past. And for me, this door knocking with offers is just one of those strategies. We've all heard about door knocking, but if you happen to have written an offer for one of your buyers who lost to a multiple offer, or if you happen to have a seller and that seller received multiple offers, you've got an extremely powerful tool that you've been filing away or putting in backup position, and we're going to show you how to use that tool and how to build fast relationships within that community that will immediately excel your ability to get more listings. And of course, if it's another agent's offer that came in on your listing and somebody around the corner says they want to sell, then you're just simply calling up that other agent saying, hey, I've got great news. You offered on my property on Main Street last week and you lost. I just got another listing in the neighborhood. Do you want to bring those same buyers back over? So you're also building relationships with other agents out there in the community. This is just one of several dozen techniques that Andrew and I will show you throughout the process. All the scripts, the mindset, the objection handling from A to Z. We're going to show you some very simple ways starting tomorrow that you could get out into your community, your sphere, cold calling, door knocking, talking to your sphere, meeting with your sphere. That's going to give you the ability to take more listings than you've ever taken before. Andrea, do you have anything you want to share or add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to go back to the door knocking, and I love the idea of it because it gives you that validity. And a lot of this course is about really giving the validity of why you're lead generating the way that you are. Instead of just picking up the phone and calling people or just knocking on the door, it's the reasons behind it that take out that mindset of, oh, I'm bothering them or they don't want to hear from me. We really go over the scripts that make the calls and the door knocking and whatever else a really valid point to be making and something that the receiver wants to hear. So on the other end, they're excited to hear what's going on in their neighborhood. They're excited to hear that a house sold and what did it sell for or not sell for. Wow, there's people that are looking to purchase in my neighborhood. I didn't really realize the market was that great. All those sorts of things. So it takes away the fear of, oh, I don't want to bother people and gives you a reason to actually talk with them.
That's awesome. Yep, I totally agree. And that's really what the course is about from A to Z is prior to our first 90-90 challenge, we were not cold callers. We were typical agents doing, as my coach would say, business by accident. And it was because of fear of rejection. It was because of not knowing the scripts, not knowing who to call, not knowing what to say, not knowing what time of day to do it. And through great coaching of MAPS and through a lot of trial and error through our first 90 and 90, and the last 3 years since, I can truly say that we've reached a mastery level of knowing exactly what to do, when to do it, what to say, who to call. And it's kind of like going to a buffet. We're going to give you so many different platforms, and you say, okay, well, I don't really like the pizza, but I like the steak, so that's the one I'm going to work on. Or, you know, I'm not a steak guy, I'm going to go to the salad bar. We're going to give each of you so many different strategies and the mindset and the scripts and the action items behind it that you get to pick and choose from the program exactly what would work in your local market, what are you comfortable doing or willing to do that will help you achieve the goals that you've set for 2016 and beyond when it comes to having a really big listing business. Chris, do you want to go to the next slide? Fantastic. So this course will arm you with the models, organize the sales team, scripts, and prospecting systems for listings and for getting buyers. And of course, for some of your individual agents, which means that you actually are a listing agent and you're also a buyer's agent, right? If you don't have a team, this course is absolutely not geared toward teams. It is 100% perfect for new agents, experienced agents, mega teams, and everywhere in between. So if you're an individual agent, then you probably are the transaction coordinator of your company, you're the buyer's agent of your company, and you're the listing agent of your company. So if you're looking to get more buyers, I can promise you that there's absolutely no tool out there. There's no money you can spend. There's no Zillow leads you can buy. There's nothing that will give you more buyers than getting a whole bunch of signs up with your name on those signs in your local community. When you get a ton of great listings, so many cool things happen is you sell those listings, and a lot of those folks are staying local, and you get to go out and show them properties. When you get a ton of great listings, you get some listings. Not all listings are created equal. And when you have some listings, for whatever reason, they're in the right school district or right zip code or right part of town, and you get tons of web hits. And when you hold an open house with little advertising, 40 or 50 people come through. Yet on another open house, on another listing in a different part of town or different zip code or different county, it's a great property, but with all the best advertising in the world, you get 7 or 10 people to come through. You see, the beauty of when we can teach you and help you to consistently get a ton of listings on all sides of town or all markets that you choose to work in is it becomes a snowball that starts building because you get these great listings and then the buyers fall from the sky and now you have more buyers than you've ever had. And when you've got a whole bunch of red signs up, you get what Tony DeCello says, or come list me, right? When you're dominating your local listing market, make no mistake, other folks in the community, other owners and homeowners in the community are watching and saying, wow, that person has a bunch of red signs up. I've seen their open houses, I've seen their advertising. I can't go to work or church or school without passing a Craig Rieger sign. When I go to sell this summer, that's the person I'm going to call to come over and interview to sell my property. And so it's a snowball that grows when we can get really good at the fundamental exercises of getting listings. Andrew, do you have anything to share or add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the real beauty of being able to prospect in whatever form you want to and get so many listings and pieces of business from it is the idea of being able to pick and choose who you want to work with, and not be stuck, being a slave to your clients or to the environment that they're making you work within, but you actually get to pick and choose where you want to spend time in your business. And this really gives you the opportunity to do that by getting a plethora of business. You get to pick and choose, who are those A clients, who are those Bs that you want to work on, and who do you keep in the pipeline and work on. And I think that just throughout the course of 90 listings in 90 days, we really go through a lot of how to generate more business, but also then how to use that to your benefit to balance your life, so that you have time to spend with your family and spend doing personal things as well, so you're not completely devoted to your business after you're able to kind of get things going and really ramp up that business.
I love that, and thank you for touching on being a slave to your business, because I find that when I coach agents around the country, there's two different issues that as real estate agents we're consistently hitting the wall on, and one of them is, hey, we just need business or more business, right? That's issue one. And then for another group of us, or even the same group at different times of the year or season, hey, we've got business, but my life is a mess. I'm out of whack on balance. I'm working evenings. I'm not seeing my kids. I'm not making it to the gym. I'm canceling my golf or fishing trips because I've got clients I need to show houses to. And what this course will teach you is that when you get really good at very simplistic yet successful lead generation strategies, is that you have the ability to work with only great clients. And it doesn't mean the other clients you just kick to the curb. Those are fantastic folks. But when I say great clients, I'm thinking of just A buyers and A sellers. We're going to show you how to get A sellers and A buyers. And one of my great friends and mentors in Keller Williams is Gene Rivers. And Gene once said to me, he said, Craig, how do you find a bunch of A buyers and A sellers? I said, geez, I don't know, Gene. Is there like a sports club they all go to and they all hang out there Tuesdays at 5, and if I get to that club, I get to just talk to A buyers and sellers? He said, no, Craig, that doesn't exist. So the only way to find A sellers and A buyers is to find a whole bunch of A, B, Cs, and Ds. And when you get really good at finding A, B, Cs, and Ds, what happens is the A sellers, you put a sign up in their yard, and they're motivated. They take your advice, and it doesn't mean they're desperate, but A clients are motivated to take your advice to help them reach their goals of getting their property sold. And A buyers will take your advice as much as they can to make the offer they need to make to get their offer accepted to purchase a property. Now the B, Cs, and Ds, we put them back into our lead generation funnel, and we cultivate them, and when they become A's, we put a sign up in front of their property, or we put them back in our car. And so when Andrew, you're talking about being a slave to the business, I think a lot of us, and certainly some of us on this webinar, and where you and I were at before 90 and 90, is we'd spend so much of our time working with B sellers and C sellers, and so much of our time working with B buyers and C buyers. And it was exhausting, and it was frustrating, and we'd be mad at them, like, I can't believe they want me to do 2 more open houses, and if I do that, then they'll think about lowering the price. Like, we would become frustrated with them, where the reality is we should have been frustrated with ourselves, because they were actually a C seller. They wanted to sell, they just weren't motivated to sell. But in our mind, we're behaving and treating them like they're A clients. And that doesn't make them good or bad. It just means that Andrew and I were not proficient at going out and finding A sellers. So throughout this course, we're going to teach you how to find A sellers. From A sellers, you're going to attract a ton of A buyers. And let's call it like it is, folks. When you're only or mostly working with people who are motivated to get their property sold, or motivated to purchase a home as quickly as possible to meet their family's needs, it actually means you get a whole lot more balance back into your life. You get a lot more consistency. You're not out chasing around and praying that today's the day they'll make that offer and actually buy the home. And we've all been through that if we've been in the business for any period of time. And the only reason that we deal with that is because we just have not become proficient at finding a whole bunch of A, B, C's, and D's. And when you find A, B, C's, and D's, you choose to work with the A's, and the rest of them you're okay saying, hey, I love you, you're wonderful, but I'm not putting you in my car, and I'm not putting a sign up until you're motivated. And you're okay saying that to them because you know tomorrow you can wake up and find more A's. And for those that stick around, and most do, when they become A's, you then and only then do business with them. So, and then lastly, and we can get into some Q&A as well, if there's any questions that any of you have on the webinar, there's an area that you can type in the questions, and we would love to answer any questions that you might have for the last 5 or 6 minutes of this call. We know that accountability is the key to success. Accountability in our organization is not a dirty word. It's not a scary word. It's not something that we're intimidated or in fear of. It's something that we know, hey, if we set a goal to list 90 homes in 90 days, that someone needs to help hold us accountable in a positive and constructive way to accomplishing that goal. And so Andrea and I, throughout the 8-week course, will be providing the weekly accountability to you, saying, okay, you set this goal. Here's the action steps that you've been given to take it. Did you follow your schedule? Did your schedule match your goals? Did you stick with your time blocking? Did you do your script practice? And if you do those things and you allow us to hold you accountable, it is an absolute 100% guarantee that at the end of this course, your business is going to be in a much different place than the beginning of it. We're going to show you systems for tracking. We're going to show you exactly how and where to put those B, C, and D buyers and sellers so you don't lose them and so they don't fall through the cracks, so that you can build a strong relationship with them so that when they become A's, you now get to put a sign up in front of their property. We're going to be doing extensive role-playing and script practice that will help transform your business. So Andrew and I will be modeling that back and forth for you. And throughout a couple calls, we even bring in some guest speakers who are very proficient in script practice and role play, who are doing these types of calls and lead generation activities every single day. So you can hear from others of what's working, what's not working, what adjustments do they make. Chris, do you want to move to the next slide? Awesome. So to sign up for the course, it's starting on Monday, June 6th at 2 p.m. Central Time. It's an 8-week course that'll be 1 hour over the phone. So every single week for 1 hour at 2 p.m. Central Time, you're going to Andrea and or I sharing with you the strategies, the scripts, the mindset, the accountability, the role playing that's going to help you have a significantly bigger business. All calls are live. And if you're not able to be on a call, they're also recorded. So the total cost for 8 hours of coaching from Andrea and I, your 2 MAPS coaches for 90 listings in 90 days, is $298. And so if we can help you get 1 more listing than you've ever had before, and by the way, if that's all we help you get, I would believe we completely failed as your coaches. And if we can assume the average listing commission in the U.S. is $6,000, your profit from this course would be $5,700. I firmly believe we can help you get 5 more listings or 10 more listings, or in some cases 30, 50, or 70 more listings. Just depends on your commitment and how receptive you will be to the course, the activity, and to the accountability that will be provided with it. Yet still, for $298, this is absolutely a no-brainer course to help you have a bigger listing business and help you have the best summer and the best 2016 you could ever imagine having. Andrea, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you pretty much covered it.
Awesome, awesome. Chris, I'm not seeing any questions come up. Thank you for going to the next screen. Is there any questions you guys have on the webinar? So for more information, you go to mapsgroupcoaching.com. To register, you can go to kwrievents.kw.com/NLN10. Or you can just simply Google 90 listings, 90 days, MAPS coaching. It will come up right away there. Folks,
Craig,
if you have any questions. Hey,
yeah, there are some questions coming up, so I'll read them to you. I'm sorry they're not showing up on your screen. The first one we've got is from Freddie. He says, I have Bold starting the 7th here in Tampa, Florida. Would it be overkill to do both at the same time?
Freddie in Tampa, I love that question. Andrea, how many times have you gone through Bold?
I have gone through 6 times.
And I'm at number 12. This course is a MAPS course. Bold is a MAPS course. Bold is about making 20 contacts a day, 100 contacts a week. And this course is all about lead generation and getting outside your comfort zone and having big goals and the mindset and skills. So this is very common because Bold is always going somewhere and this course is always going as well. So it's a great question. And unequivocally, the folks that have gone through Bold that also do this course are going to have, it's like a steroid or extra spark plug to your business. They will complement each other perfectly. They will help you hit your Bold 100 every single week and help you hit your goals. So yes, it's an absolute win-win, not overkill.
Perfect. Next one also from Freddie. Will we learn about a good cultivation system?
Absolutely, and that's where Andrea's strength zone is really going to come in, is we have to figure out, the A's are super simple, Chris. We go and just put our sign up in their yard, and we get offers, and we go to escrow. It's the B, C's, and D's, the folks that say, hey, what, I'm going to sell in 6 months, or I'm going to sell in 1.5 years when I retire from the factory, or I'm going to sell in 2 years when my stocks mature. And that is then Andrea's strength zone is creating that cultivation system for our company, staying in relationship with them, and ensuring that 6 months or 12 months or 18 months, when they are ready to sell, that your sign goes up in their yard. So yes.
Great. Another question. How many agents are included in this coaching? Are they weekly calls? Are the calls taped in case of vacation?
Wonderful question. So I believe we cut off the course at about 250 agents. There's some openings left. It's not too late to register. The calls are live. Both Andrea and I will be your coach throughout the course. And if for some reason you're not able to be on a call, yes, the calls are taped, and you can go to Basecamp. It's super simple. We'll give you all the instructions of how to get there, and you can listen to the recording over and over. If there's something you want to go deeper on, or you're not sure you heard or need to know more about, or if you missed the call, it's of course there to listen to as well.
Okay, great. Here's a good question. How do you do the role playing in a group setting? Wouldn't that be a lot of people talking? Are we paired off with one another?
That's a great question. We're gonna ask you, just like in Bold, to get role play partners. We're gonna give you some mindset concepts on how to get some role play partners. The role play will be live between Andrea and I. So the format of the call is we're gonna go through each call. There's a workbook that you receive in advance, which will outline what the call is going to be. It will have scripts and certain information in it that we'll be covering on that particular week. And you're right, there is going to be a lot of folks on the call, and we've been doing this for several years. We have it to a science. And so the call will be muted, as this webinar is, with Andrea and I leading the call and role playing. And then as we get to the last 15 minutes of the call, we open up the call to any questions, last 10 to 15 minutes. And it can be a little cumbersome with a bunch of people asking questions, but we work through that and we answer the questions directly in the last 10 or so minutes before the call's over. But the role playing is between Andrea and I and other folks we believe have hit a mastery level.
Fantastic. My favorite question, would it make sense to do both the 90 listings and 90 buyers?
Yeah, absolutely, because they really do complement each other. 90 buyers in 90 days launched in the first quarter, and 90 listings in 90 days has been going for about 2.5, 3 years through MAPS now. And we had a whole bunch of people sign up for both programs, and the feedback was outstanding because they really do play off one another. When you get a bunch of listings, by default, you get a bunch of buyers. Yet if you have buyer's agents or other folks, or you're looking to have a big buyer business on your team, and you want one group of the team focusing on listings and other team focusing on buyers, it can be very beneficial to everyone.
Perfect. Let me see. How much of this call focuses on FSBOs and expireds?
FSBOs, I would say probably 10% is FSBOs, and probably 20% is expireds. And there's so many different lead generation strategies. Again, it's kind of like a buffet. We're going to give you a plethora of scripts and conversations you can have with all different groups, from your sphere to FSBOs to expireds to door knocking and everybody else in between, to circle prospecting to cold calling. And we're going to show you exactly how to do it so that you can take from that the things you're able or willing to do to be able to hit your goals.
Great. Do you have specific scripts and techniques to teach us how to find A sellers?
No, we don't, because again, A sellers, there's not a magical group of A sellers. We have specific tips and techniques and scripts of how to find A, B, and C sellers. Because when you're sorting through to find the A's, you're gonna stumble across a bunch of people that have no desire to sell, some desire to sell, and a little desire to sell. And as you go through that process, the A's will show up, and they'll show up very clearly, and the B's and C's, we're going to show you where to put in your database, exactly how to follow up with them to help them become A's in the future.
Great. Is this good for newer agents or seasoned agents looking to increase their business?
It's awesome. We have had agents who literally got licensed yesterday that took 90 listings in 90 days and went out and started having a big listing business. We've had most of the top teams in Keller Williams, most of Gary's top 100 have gone through this course and had benefits from it as well. So it's not a team-oriented course. It's not a single agent-oriented course, Chris. It's a course 100% based on regardless of where you're at in your business. Andrew and I are going to give you the tools to go out and take more listings tomorrow than you ever have before. So if you're a team already taking 300 listings, our goal is we help you take 400. If you're on day one of real estate, our goal is in the next 7 days you've got your first listing contract signed. It's for absolutely everyone.
Fantastic. And is there any other access to the coaches besides the weekly call?
We have a Facebook page that Andrew and I interact with. There's the Basecamp, which the entire program is run through, and there's a question section on Basecamp. I mean, we're not your individual Mastery Maps coaches where you get a half-hour one-on-one with us once a week. Yet through Facebook and through Basecamp, we do, both Andrew and I do a lot of interaction, and questions are posted there, and we will individually or both answer those questions for you. So absolutely, it's more than just the phone calls.
Fantastic, Craig. Well, thank you and Andrea very much for hosting this call for us. As this final screen here shows, folks can go to mapsgroupcoaching.com for more information. If they already are ready to sign up, which I think everybody here probably is, URL is on the screen, kwrievents.kw.com/NLN10.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. We look forward to talking with you next Monday for session 1 of 90 and 90. Have a great weekend. Go and get some listings. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.